Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So today's the day a lot of you have been waiting for, and a lot of you have requested me to do this on my BMW E60 M5. Now, as you guys know, this is a very popular upgrade. Today we're going to be converting the pre-LCI headlights and tail lights to the LCI headlights and tail lights on this car, and I'm going to show you what you need to do that, and also the coding as well needed to the LM2 module. As you guys know, my car is December 2005, so it's got LM1, so therefore I have to fit LM2 module. We have all the parts in, the actual LCI headlights with the adaptive headlight and also the cornering lights. I'm going to show you all guys what I've actually bought, so you guys know exactly what you need for this retrofit if you're planning to do it. Then we're going to go ahead, remove the headlights on the E60 M5 and start wiring in the new headlight connectors for these headlights on this car. So let's get onto it.
For a trap boy really out here trying to kill it. Traction bricks so they float like pigeons, trying to stay low like a midget, I'm really not kidding. OT trips and stinky kicks and my balls are itching. I hit up the petrol station and fill it, and I ain't stopping till this pack is finished. Let's go. Too many calls.
What we're going to go ahead and do is release the headlight. So we're going to want to take out all the Torx 30 bolts, which is up here, located here and here and here as well. So there's going to be 4 bolts that remove this headlight assembly straight out. Then you're going to want to disconnect the connectors that are going to be on the back. Now once all the bolts are out, you're going to want to keep the 2 longest ones, so the long one and the short one there, as well as these 2 because they're the shortest, which go into this section right here. Then these 2 go in here and up here, and keep them safe because you're going to need them to bolt up your new headlights. And then you're going to have 2 8mm bolts down there. Now most people use Allen keys, they're located down there, they're sitting on a bracket that slide off, so we're going to get a long extension bar and put it down there so we can unloosen them bolts so the headlight slides forward. So as you see there, the headlight will just slide forward straight after that, and then you can start putting it out. And then as you see there, the headlight will come out, and that will be the whole assembly out of the car. So as you'll see there, both headlights are out of the car. It's the same procedure for both sides. Now what we're going to go ahead and do is cut off the plugs. So you'll see over here we've got the plugs. This is what we're going to be cutting off, and then we're going to be rewiring a new plug for the new LCI plug sockets on this car. So we're going to have to cut off the old plugs here and use all the wires to put into the new plug harness. Okay, so as you see here, this is the wiring harness, and what we're going to go ahead and do is cut all the wires. Now after this, there is no going back after you cut the wires, so just bear that in mind, that you won't be able to go back and replace it. Once this is it, this is final, and then therefore you're going to have to wire these up to the new connector, so bear that in mind when you cut them. So here goes nothing guys, we're going to cut them, and as you see there, that's the plug now cut off. What a shame. And then here as well, so now we've got that both disconnected. Now what we're going to do is rewire these into the new wiring adapters. Now as you see here, in the kit that you do get the new plugs that you've got to put all on, new pins that you're going to have to connect to the wires, and also the grommets. Now you want to put these grommets over because you don't want water ingress to get into the plug and then end up damaging all your terminals. So this is what they're for, so just be careful of that when you do that. Okay, so you can see here all the wires are now exposed, and this is what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to strip back the insulation and get the wires. Now I've got the wiring diagram which I'll put on the screen above so you guys can see it the whole way. As we're doing it, we're going to be cutting the wires, and you just need to know which one goes to where. Now obviously the browns will be the earths on this. So you need to basically strip all the wires and then re-put them and re-pin them and put them back in the new connector. So I'm going to follow the wiring diagram and we're going to pin this up. I'm going to put this in slow motion so you guys can see, and I'll also put it down below each pin number these go to so you can see as well, and that way you don't forget. If you need to look back on the video, you remember what pin goes to what plug. And this will be the same on the other side as well. Be the same exact thing to pin it out. So I'm not going to show you on the other side, we're just going to show you in one plug how to plug it up, and it'll be the same on the other side. Okay guys, so as you see here now, we're going to be doing the pins for the headlights. Now this can get confusing because it's all different colours on the diagram to what it is on the actual pin out, and you just have to realise what wires you've got left and then pin them out after you completed the ones that you have got from the pin out chart. It can get very confusing, you just have to be very careful at the time. But as you can see here, we're just doing the connections all up with the wires right now. Okay guys, as you see there, this is a new diagram that I found for the car, and if you see there, pin 8 goes unassigned when it's AHL headlamps, and you'll see all the wiring diagrams right there. This will be linked as well so you can see it properly and you can take photos of it if you need it, but this is a diagram we're going to be using to do it. So we're going to go ahead and pin them out into the new connector. Okay, so the first plug is all fitted as you see there with all the grommets. We've got all the wiring done for the first plug. This is for the LCI headlamp, the AHL. All the diagrams will be above the screen the whole time while the wiring's taking place, so you guys can see it and get a drift of it. And I'll also put them in a link so you guys can go and find them as well if you plan on doing the conversion, so you'll know where to go to. As you see, all the grommets are in. We managed to get all the wires. Do remember, this only has 11 wires, not 12. Therefore, you leave pin 8 out on the driver's side, which will be your passenger side in the US if you're planning to do it. So there's only 11 wires this side. The following side on the right side is for the AHL, which therefore will have the AHL side, which you have to follow over there. As you'll see here, that's the plug done. We're now going to move over to the other side. So as you'll see there guys, we've got the headlights fitted, the wiring's been done. Now we're going to go ahead and test them. That'll be the first side, and as you see there, that's the second side in. We're going to switch them on and see if everything's wired correctly. This is the moment of truth. We're going to see if everything goes bang or everything functions as intended. So as you see there guys, they're fully working and functional, but we do have one of the halo rings not working. So I need to find out why that is. That could be a bulb fault or a wiring fault, but they are working. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to remove the plastic trim out of here, just like that. And you're going to want to pull that out. So now what you're going to do is you're going to expose all the connections down here. If you can see here, this is your ground plate. Now, if you don't know, you can see here, this has all been soldered and wired in for grounds to the lights. Now what we're going to do is we're going to attach another ground. This is a ground block, which is right there. We're going to attach the new lights ground, because on the LCI lights they've got a ground wire which is going to go straight into that block. We're going to disconnect them, which is just pull out that plug like that. Then we've got to make sure the wires are correct on the new harness. And if need be, we're going to have to change them over as well. So we're going to have to be careful with that as well. So now what we're going to do is just remove these, which I believe are 8mm bolts, might be 10, around here and there. You've got one there, one here and one up here, and then the light should come out. So we're going to take that out. We're going to remove all the bolts. What we'll go ahead and do is just push the light out. As you see there, the light's now out. And as you see on that one, there is no ground connection. But on the LCI, there is a ground connection. That ground connection is because they're LEDs, so they don't get overpowered. If they do overpower, it grounds them out to stop them overheating or blowing, them catching fire, because they're LEDs, so they're not controlled where bulbs can just blow the circuit, LEDs cannot. So if you see here, these are the LED headlamps we're putting in. These are from the LCI. They're a bit dirty, so I'm going to give them a wipe down, because I'm not going to fit these to the car like that with all that crap inside them. So we'll clean it up. Okay, so what we're going to do is remove this ground block so we can connect the ground in. As you'll see there, it's now gone in. And what we'll do, we'll just hook that back up. And that's the ground wire in. And as I said, that's for the overload protection, that ground wire of them bulbs. So make sure you do ground it. Do not try and cut it off. I think you don't need it, because you will. So now what we'll do is we'll just bolt the lights back up so they stay in position, so they stop rolling around. Just bolt these back up. And that's that complete. Okay, so as you see here, this is the new loom, and as you'll see there, it says left side, and you'll also see this cable with a pin on it that goes back to the LM module, which we've got to run through the boot floor here. Now I just want to make sure of something very quickly, that these pins are the right way around, which they're not. So we're going to have to switch the pins to match the cable on here. The rest are fine, just to make sure you've got the right pins. Otherwise what will happen is the fog lights will stay on. So everything else is correct, it's just we need to switch pin 1 and 3 around. Switch pin 1 and 3, so we're just going to do that. Now it is critical that you pull them out like that, like I've done. You pull this flat down, you can pull the pins out, and just keep checking to make sure which ones it is you need to switch. So obviously it goes like that. So this one needs to come here, and then the other one needs to go there. So it goes something like this. Just make sure it's all correct. And that's still correct. So we'll just switch pin 1 and 3. So we can connect that up and shut the locking tab. And we are done there. Everything is solid and in. So this is the first one. Then what we're going to want to do You just snip that into here. Then we're going to start running the cable along the boot floor. And we're going to do that after we get the other one out, which is the driver's side. So we're going to change over the driver's side, then we'll start moving all the wires. Okay guys, so same thing on this side now. What we're going to do is just release the lights again. Bolts down. Now what we're going to do is just unplug the connector, and then we're going to slide out the headlight like that. Now you're probably wondering why I'm changing the wires on the light. Now that is because if you don't, your fog lights will stay on and your brake lights won't work. What will happen is it will overpower with current, and then it will end up triggering a warning light on the dash. Therefore, make sure you always change over the wires on them plugs. BMW never do it, and nobody's ever received them with the pins changed over, so just be sure of that. Now, here's the next one, and I don't even think this one will be correct. So now we just have to make sure. So we're just going to check. So again, this one's mixed up here. So it's meant to be black and brown, that's white and brown, black and brown, white and brown. These need to be switched on here. So we need to switch 1 and 3 on this one as well. So we're going to do that. So if you see here, to open the cap, you want to look at the back here, and you just want to open it from here. It does open up, it flips forward like that. And obviously you've got the cap there, you can just keep that safe and put it back on whenever you need to. So now what we're going to do is we're going to switch the pins over. So we just again look at what ones it is we need to switch. Yep, so that's 1 and 3. So we need to swap 1 and 3. So we need to kill it out. So you just prise it with a screwdriver and push down to release the pin. And you're just going to switch them over like this. And you'll hear them click in. Then you just move that wire into there, and you'll hear that one clicking as well. Then all you've got to do is put your tab back on like that. That's all locked in. Then you should have the colours correct, which now I believe we do, and it's all correct. So now that's plugged up as well. Now once it's in position, we will just plug it up. Then we'll just install the bolts. Okay guys, as you see, that's all done now. And now the last thing left is routing all these cables to get them in to down the driver's footwell. So we're going to have to start routing all these wires now. Now what we're going to do is route the cables from the corner over here all along here, and if you can see there's a wiring harness underneath this trim panel, which just removes by Phillips screws, 3 of them, 1 in the middle, 1 in each corner. You're just going to want to run cable ties and run this wire all along the trunk area here, which you're going to cable tie from down here and run it all along. And this is the way BMW asks you to do it in the diagram as well. So we're going to get cable tying it all the way along. Okay guys, as you'll see, I've routed the cable all along here and cable tied it now. First thing to bear in mind is don't cable tie this too tight straight away, because As you'll see here, I'm running it and joining it onto the loom here. Now, what you want to do is tuck this into the car so you can pull it under the seats. So do not cable tie this too tight yet, because you need to be able to move it, because we need to make sure it's going to reach to the end of the car. Now, from BMW's measurements, this should get to the driver's side with no issues, but we're soon going to find out if that is actually the case, because this is built for left-hand drive cars. So usually it's meant to go in a straight line from here straight down, but I've had to extend it down here to get it down the other side, but we'll soon find out if it reaches. So guys, while I'm in the middle of this, if you are in the UK or your car is right-hand drive, this is something that's never spoken about on YouTube when doing this retrofit, and that's purely because most people that do it on here have left-hand drive vehicles. So the one that goes to the left tail light, there is not enough lead to go to the LM2 module, but the right one is long enough to go to the LM2 module. It's got too much leverage on it. So what I did was, if you see here, I cut a piece of the wire that was too long and I butted it up here to make the connection with it. That will just do for now till later on. And then what I'm doing here is using the other piece to join onto the piece that's not long enough, so I can get it down to the front of the car, because this one for the left light won't even reach the LM module, therefore I can't even plug it up, where the other one's just way too long. I had to pull it all back. So I'm just using an extended bit of wire to make my own wiring, so I can make this module work. And that's something a lot of people don't tell you, so this is what I've been doing. I'm in the process of actually doing this right now. Then I've run all the wires just under the seat, pulled them through the seat gap there when I lift my hand under the seat and got my hand through, pulled the wires through and routed them all along, and I'll show you as we go around after I've done this cable how I've routed them in. Okay guys, so how I've run this. So as you'll see here, it's going underneath here. Well, it's ended up here because I pushed it through the gap underneath the seats, bring it underneath this carpet and lifted it up so it could get round here. You'll see this is where I added a new wire and taped it, and as I said, that's not going to move nowhere, so you don't have to worry about it, and it's taped onto there as well. Do not worry about it one bit, because there's going to be more than enough flex so it will never break apart. And as you see, we just butt plugged that up as I showed you, then we run it around here, pulled it from under the seats here with my hand, got it here as you'll see, and just got to pull the wires so they go down into the floor well, and you want to make sure they're tucked down properly, because when the seats go back in and latch in, you don't want them to end up catching the wires and destroying the wires. You want to route it all along the floor well, as you see here, which I thought I've done, and I've pushed it all down. You'll see here behind the carpet, you can see it all there running all along, and then all underneath here, this trim straight underneath this floor, running near the loom all the way along up to where the light module is going to go. And as you see, now the wires are both the same length and long enough, and we'll tuck them behind there in the excess wire, and all the wiring bit we'll tidy up after. But as you see now, we're going to remove this panel with just a Phillips head screw, and then this panel just pulls off. That will release the bonnet latch, then we can get to this, and the LM2 module is going to be above here. If you're right hand drive, this panel has to come down, and we're going to get to the LM2 module, drop it, and then more pin changing on that one. Okay guys, so when you remove this panel under here, and obviously the access panel, you'll find your light module sitting here. Now it's got an 8mm bolt attached to it. I believe it's 8mm, not 6mm. Over 6mm I have to change, but it's attached to the back of the cast. So we're going to go ahead and drop that down. It's hooked up there, so we'll drop it down and then change it over. I know this is going to be LM1 and not LM2. If it's LM2, I'll be very, very happy, but I highly doubt it's LM2. So as you see right there, that's the LM module, and this is LM1 with AHL, as you will see there. So therefore, I do have the LM2, so we're going to be changing over to that, but we need to change the pins on the plug connector first. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to have to cut some of this loom as well to free up some of the wires so we can move them around. Now there is two tabs you're going to have to release to slide them off, which are these two right here, that one and that one. You're going to have to get a prize tool in there so you can slide the two plugs, as you see there, out, so you can start moving the pin numbers around, and then get these two leads, which are right here, into the slots as well. Okay, so as you see there, we've now got the white tab off, and if you can see on here, you've got numbers all at the bottom, which you can see right there, which you've got to remove the correct number pins in sequence and move them around. So we're going to be moving the pin numbers around, so I need to just get the diagram to see what ones they are and which ones we need to slot in there. If you will see here, I've got the LM2 module, which is right here as well, ready to go in. This is LM2, that is LM1. This has many useful upgrades, and this you need for the LCI Retrofit. So if you see here, you have to swap the pins on the light module, and if you see, it's pin 25 to pin 63, pin 40 to pin 11. So we're going to remove the pins. You're going to need a little screwdriver like that to remove them. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back after I've changed the pins over. And there we have it, guys. The pins are now changed over. Now I would assure you to be careful with this wire right here, because as you can see, it's very, very stretched going to pin 11, but it just reaches. Therefore, be careful with that one. We're going to now pin it back together and insert it back into its block. And there we go, guys. Everything's now connected. Okay, guys, so as you see there, everything's now back together. The LM module is now fitted. The pins are changed. Everything's all completed in interior. Put all the trims back on. If we open up the car here, you also see this trims back on. The wiring's been run under the seat to the point you can't really see it. You will see them down the side here. They've got enough play so they can't be pulled on the car. You just have to lift the seats up, put your hand underneath and pull them out. But you see everything's hidden perfectly. Going on the footwell, everything's now connected up. We're just going to reconnect everything, go in the boot, cable tie all the wires, which I'll show you in a minute. And then we're going to get onto the coding part to code the LM module to make it work for the rear lights and the headlamps. So let's get onto it. And as you see there, you can't see any of the wiring once the covers are on, so it looks like a professional install. The rear tail lights are on, and look how good they look. And this one's on, and just look how good that looks. And this one's on, and look how good that one looks. We've now got LED lights on the E60 M5, and you wouldn't even know an LCI retrofit's been done. Okay guys, so it's a new day and we finally finished the LCI retrofit to the BMW E60 M5. Now, the job was very, very straightforward. The coding, however, was a completely different story. And the coding part you guys probably haven't seen. That's because that is going on the membership. Now, let me just explain to you guys something so people can understand. Anyone who makes the coding look easy for that, I can assure you right now, it is not easy to code the AHL and the LCI headlights as many people think. That is because before 2005, which is March 2005, the AHL module, which is the adaptive headlights module, was separate from the LM module. Now, if you have that on your car and you want to fit the AHL headlights, the bi-xenon ones to your LCI, you'll need to rewire that whole AHL module, the wires, to your LM module. If you've got the LM with the AHL, you need to make a lot of changes in the LM module itself, as well as the adaptive headlight modules, to manipulate it, to make it think you've got an LCI car. You have to change a lot of things in a VO, which the video will be on the membership. I'm not putting it on this video purely because it will be the most detailed video out there, because nobody manages to show you in detail how to do it, and nobody knows how to do it. And most people that do this go to someone else to have it done. Most of the videos on the internet. The LCI Retrofit coding is going to be up on the membership. So if any of you guys are doing this and you need that, that is on the membership purely for the members and for anyone else that wants to join there. It was not a straightforward process. It took me 4 to 5 hours to work it all out and get it all together to make the trace file for my car. The trace file will also be uploaded on the membership for many of you guys who are going to do the LCI, so you can just take the trace file and use it on your car, especially if it's this year, which is 2005. That way you don't have to go through all the coding differences like I did to try and make my own trace file out of nothing for the car. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to the E60 M5 now, and I'm going to show you it all working and how nice the car actually looks with the headlights fitted and the tail lights fitted. So you'll see there, this is the first LCI tail light, which is on the driver's side. It's all fitted and fully functional, and it works absolutely brilliantly. And you'll see that there's LEDs inside there on the right, which is absolutely excellent. You'll also see here, this is the left one, and that one's fully fitted and it works brilliantly. We'll turn them on in a second so you guys can see when I unlock the car. And then you'll see the headlights right there, which are all fitted as well. I polished them all up, shined them all up, and they're fully working, as you'll see. Now if we just open the car and unlock the car, you will see the welcome lights come on. And as you see there, the welcome lights have come on, which you'll see there as well. And you'll notice the rears have lit up as well and fully working, which are here as well. And that's the rear lights. You'll also notice right there that that's the xenon lights fully working, which are the bi-xenons, as you'll see in there. They're all fully working properly. You'll also see on this side as well, it's all fully working as well with all the bi-xenons, completely working with the angel eyes, which are upgraded to LED. And you'll also notice here, when we hold the check notification, it says check OK, and there is no fault code stored in the system, and that's because I cleared every fault that was on there after the correction with the VO and obviously all the coding, so everything works perfectly, and that's a good job, fully done. It's one of the best upgrades I've done to the M5, and I'm really thankful I've done it. So there you have it, guys. The LCI retrofit is complete. Now, it's not a hard job to actually do. It took me in total 4.5 hours to retrofit the lights, to do the wiring, and to do the tail lights and run the wires into the front of the car to get to the LM module. The hardest part about it was the coding, and that's purely because everyone's car is different. If you've got a before March 2005 car, you will have the AHL module in your car, which requires a lot more work. If you've got the LM with AHL, as I said, you're gonna have to manipulate the file and change a lot of settings in a lot of modules to make it work perfectly with the adaptive headlights. Because remember, the adaptive headlight is linked to your road speed, it's linked to onto your steering angle sensor, as well as the LM module, as well as the KGM. It's all linked together in all their modules. So a lot of stuff has to be changed, a lot of the values have to be changed to make it work. Like I said, it is not straightforward, and this is why a lot of people don't know how to do it and don't upload it. And that's why I come to that conclusion not to do the same thing and pull it on the membership. So if you guys want to see how it's done, you go and pay for the membership, which is going to be on the expert package for the expert members, which I think they deserve that. And you guys can go and either take the trace file and use it for your car, or you can see how it's done and do it yourself. So thank you very much for watching. It's BMW Dr. Dean here, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I know I have, and I'm very, very happy with the retrofit and the way it's come out on my E60 M5. That was the last modification for the E60 M5, and I'm very, very happy with the upgrade. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you guys for all your support. and goodbye.